What's the funniest pet versus owner fail that still makes you cringe? My cat Domino once decided that my hand-inked, one-of-a-kind contract was the perfect scratch pad during a board meeting prep session. I dashed out for coffee, and 2 minutes later returned to discover the document shredded into confetti across my mahogany desk. Worse, Domino's paw prints were in black ink, turning the contract into an abstract crime scene. I spent the rest of the morning piecing it back together with Scotch tape, then emailed a scan that looked like a ransom note. My boss raised an eyebrow and asked if I was moonlighting as a street artist. Now I stash every important draft in a closed drawer, out of paw's reach. My dog Bruno glitched my morning workout livestream by vaulting onto my yoga mat while I was mid-headstand. He latched onto my leggings drawstring, yanking me into an impromptu downward dog as the audience erupted in laughter. My ring light toppled, sending LED bulbs skittering across the floor, and Bruno trotted off brandishing my phone charger like a tug-of-war trophy. Comments flooded in. Best new yoga instructor. That's the pet terrestrial pose. I had to restart the class, rename the move Bruno's bow, and ended up with a 50% spike in follower count. What began as pure cringe turned into unexpected viral gold. My parrot Kiwi binge listened to my phone's ringtone library, because during my cousin's wedding reception he blasted the exact ding of my ex's text alert. I answered instinctively, interrupting the maid of honor mid-toast. The DJ cranked the music to drown out Kiwi's squawk of "Get me a margarita" on loop, and my cousin shook his head in disbelief. Guests howled, cell phones filmed the chaos, and my aunt still asks if the ex ever replied. Kiwi's wedding crash landed our family album into comedic legend. My rabbit Flopsy insisted on stealing the spotlight during my fiancé's engagement photo shoot. She hopped onto the picnic blanket, nosedived into the floral bouquet, and flung rose petals like confetti across our portraits. The photographer yelled "cut" as Flopsy struck a pose atop my fiancé's lap. We got some hilarious outtakes, a slow-motion shot of petals raining down and our bewildered expressions. Those bloopers open our wedding slideshow and spark laughter at every family gathering. My guinea pig Nibbles pulled off the ultimate party crash at my daughter's unicorn-themed birthday. I turned my back, and Nibbles tunneled out of his pen, popped up inside the unicorn cake, and left tiny footprints in the frosting. Someone captured him mid-bite, frosting glued to his whiskers. I swapped out the cake topper for a store-bought cupcake, and Nibbles received an honorary slice. His face-painted mustache became the highlight of the invitation for next year. My tortoise Turbo decided to join my live-streamed yoga class in style. During a plank pose, he ambled across my chest, causing me to collapse, sending my ring light spinning into the potted fern. The camera caught my slow-motion flail and Turbo's triumphant shell-clacking victory lap. Viewers dubbed it Tortoise Yoga Fail and sponsors slid into my DMs asking for branded mats. Apparently, live stream crashes are the new fitness craze. I'm now the accidental face of slow and steady workouts. My hamster Monty staged his own roller coaster on my nightstand just as my 6 a.m. alarm blared. He careened down a trail of pens and charging cables, demolished my phone, and sent it flying across the room, cracking the screen before I'd even rubbed my eyes. I woke to shards of glass and Monty grinning from his habitat bars like he'd won the lottery. I spent the next hour hunting replacement cables in my pajamas, cursing small paws and tiny engineering feats. Monty, however, slept through the drama, leaving me bleary-eyed at work. Have you ever planned something special, like a date, party, or work call, only for your pet to completely ruin it? I planned to propose to my girlfriend at the local botanical garden at sunset. I had the ring ready and arranged a photographer hiding behind a rose bush. Just as I got on one knee, our Labrador Daisy lunged out of nowhere to fetch a tennis ball. She knocked me over, sent the ring flying into the koi pond, and chased after the ball. I spent 10 minutes wading mud-deep while wedding guests watched in stunned silence. Eventually I found the ring tangled in lilies, and Daisy got her selfie moment. My dramatic proposal turned into slapstick gold. For my best friend's surprise 30th birthday party, I decked my living room in balloons, streamers, and a custom cake. My cat Whiskers decided decorating was overrated. He jumped on the table, shredded the streamers, and ate half the frosting. Guests arrived to bare walls, frosting paw prints, and a smug feline shoulder riding the cake stand. We improvised by ordering pizza and letting Whiskers be the guest of honor. He still gets Instagram shoutouts every year. I scheduled a critical Zoom call with my startup's lead investor team. I locked the doors and sent my dog Cooper to his crate. But halfway through my pitch, he scratched at the door, broke the latch, and tore through my filing cabinet looking for his squeaky toy. Papers fluttered across the camera view, and I scrambled to mute myself while corralling him. My pitch became part dog drama and part business proposal, only half of which the investors remembered. Our annual virtual family reunion ran over a group Zoom link. I was in charge and had slides queued. My parrot Mango, an expert mimic, decided to hijack the mic. Just as Aunt Linda began her keynote, Mango piped up in Grandma's voice, "Get me a gin and tonic." Chaos ensued. Uncles snorted with laughter, and my aunt blushed bright red. Mango repeated it on loop, revealing family jokes we never wanted broadcast. The rest of the reunion was one long inside joke. I spent weeks planning a rooftop movie night for my partner's birthday, projector, blankets, snacks, the works. Minutes before our guests arrived, my rabbit Oreo escaped and burrowed into the projector, nibbling the power cable to oblivion. The screen stayed dark, and only Oreo's eye gleamed from under the deck. We ended up watching the film on a phone speaker under the stars, with a very full bunny in my arms. My go-to summer party featured a DIY margarita bar for neighbors. My ferret Bandit decided to join the fun. He dove headfirst into the blender, mixing tequila and strawberries into a sticky mess. He hopped onto the deck railing, showering guests with a pink sticky Bandit finish. We laughed, cleaned him off, and replaced the blender cone, though the party never lost its buzz. I arranged a virtual hire date celebration for my new team, complete with a real cupcake for each remote member. My hamster Peanut spotted the cupcake on my desk, knocked it off, and buried it in his bedding. By the time confetti animations played on Zoom, Peanut was guarding crumbs like treasure. My team dubbed it the sweetest onboarding fail ever. I hosted a baby shower brunch with themed decor and a custom diaper cake. My pet goat Clover, famous for her sweet tooth, burst through the front gate, trotted over to the snack table, and ate the candy decorations off the cake. Guests arrived to find a goat in a party hat chewing pacifiers. We turned it into a petting zoo and joked that Clover was the best guest. My colleague and I planned an outdoor work call in our backyard, complete with a picnic table setup. My tortoise Turbo, who somehow roams free, slow-walked across my keyboard, stepped on the mute button, and then nosed the Wi-Fi router off the table. The screen froze on our CEO's face while Turbo munched grass. We had to feign technical difficulties and switch to conference call landlines, all while Turbo toured the garden in our gratitude slide. What's the worst thing your pet has destroyed in your home, or on your stuff? My cat Luna decided my brand new leather couch was the ultimate scratching post. Overnight, she shredded one entire armrest into fluffy strips, leaving a pile of foam and leather bits in the living room. I came home to find tufts everywhere, on the coffee table, in my shoes, even in my cereal bowl. Replacing the armrest cost more than a month's rent, and Luna still gives me that innocent I didn't do it look whenever I pass the couch. My Labrador Duke once got bored and went after my DSLR camera bag. He ripped the zipper right off and chewed through 2 lenses, a flash unit, and a memory card loaded with family photos. By the time I heard the crunching, it was too late. He looked up at me triumphantly, lens elements hanging from his jowls. I had to explain to my wife why our vacation pictures were gone, and Duke still thinks camera bag is code for treat. My parrot Kiwi somehow learned how to unzip my backpack and ate half my law school textbooks one payday morning. I found feathers and bits of pages scattered across the lawn, including the chapters on torts and contract law. Kiwi sat on the fence, whistling happy birthday as if to mock me. I spent the next week photocopying replacement pages, and Kiwi got banned from shoulder rides until finals were over. My rabbit Thumper saw the cable behind my gaming PC as a snack, and nibbled it down to the bare copper moments before a championship match. My mouse froze, the screen blinked out, and I lost the final round, and a chunk of my deposit on that custom-built rig. Ever since, all cables are hidden behind plexiglass panels, and Thumper is kept in sight. My ferret Bandit found a hidden stash of my wife's vintage jewelry in a dresser drawer. He unearthed her grandmother's pearl necklace and scattered beads across the bedroom floor like confetti. By the time I realized what was happening, Bandit had swallowed 1 pearl whole. We spent the evening with the vet and a bag of peas, and Bandit strutted out with a newfound swagger, jewelry thief extraordinaire. When did your pet embarrass you in public, and how did you handle it? My dog Rufus let out a thunderous fart in the middle of my grandmother's funeral service. The entire pew shuddered, and a few elderly aunts fanned their faces. I turned bright red, grabbed Rufus's leash, and whispered apology after apology as I hustled him outside. He wagged his tail like he'd just won gold. I spent the rest of the ceremony standing by the cemetery gate with him. At least the fresh air helped mask the odor. My parrot Mango decided Polly Wants a Cracker wasn't dramatic enough and instead squawked, "Get me a margarita," on loop while I shopped for produce at the farmer's market. Shoppers snapped photos as I chased him down the aisle, apologizing profusely. I finally bribed him with a grape and hid him in my jacket until checkout. The vendor still laughs about the drunk bird that ruined his Saturday. My cat Biscuit chose my friend's rooftop brunch to regurgitate a hairball right onto her designer purse. She let out a scream, spraying mimosas everywhere. I grabbed napkins, mumbled frantic apologies, and frantically tried to clean the stain, failing miserably. We ended up moving to a nearby cafe, me buying her a replacement purse later that week. Now Biscuit is banned from brunch spots entirely. I was at my college graduation when my rabbit Thistle bolted off my lap and sprinted across the stage, snatching the microphone cord in her teeth. The audience gasped as my speech cut out. I lunged for her, me and my tassel swinging wildly, and the dean had to chase us both off stage. My diploma ceremony video is unforgettable, and constantly replayed in my family's group chat. During a beach wedding, my fiancé and I were about to kiss when our golden retriever Apollo bounded between us, leaping into the bridesmaid's arms, knocking her into the sand, and covering her dress with paw prints. I scooped Apollo up, apologized through gritted teeth, and we carried on with sand in our hair, laughter, and a slightly compromised dress hem. I was giving a presentation in a packed public library when my hamster Gizmo escaped his handheld ball, squeaked its way across the floor, and scampered under the audience's chairs. I paused mid-sentence, shushed everyone, and spent 5 mortifying minutes on my hands and knees retrieving him, my notes scattered. The librarian still asks if I've considered hamster control as my next career. My ferret Loki made an impromptu appearance at my local grocery checkout, popping out of my tote and startling the cashier into dropping 3 eggs. I fished Loki out, apologized, and covered the bill, while Loki curled up on the conveyor belt, looking pleased as punch. The video went viral on the store's Instagram, #FerretGate. At a formal charity gala, my iguana Spike decided the red carpet needed his own stiletto-esque entrance. He slid off my clutch, crawled across the silk runner, and paused for selfies with onlookers. Security gently escorted us both back, and I spent the rest of the night fielding questions about the scaly celebrity. My tortoise Turbo, known for glacial speed, somehow ended up atop my date's car at a drive-in movie. He hitchhiked out of his carrier, and we spent the trailer previews coaxing him off the roof with lettuce, and getting cheered on by other guests. We finally retrieved him before the feature film, but Turbo's selfie with the concession stand attendant is still the highlight reel. I took my goat Clover to a pet-friendly farmer's market, only for her to break free and headbutt a display of organic pumpkins, sending gourds rolling everywhere. Children squealed, vendors gasped, and I sprinted through the crowd in loafers, apologizing and picking up squash. I paid for the damages and handed Clover a snack. She gobbled it like she'd just pulled off the greatest heist in market history. What's the most epic way your pet has sabotaged you at a critical moment? My cat Luna once leapt onto my desk mid-Zoom presentation for senior leadership, knocked my webcam so it spun around, and stomped across my keyboard, sending a half-typed email to the entire exec team that read, "Dinner tonight?" I scrambled to delete it, but by then they'd already commented on my unique outreach strategy. My 3-month-old Labrador, Max, stole my car keys from my purse right before my wedding ceremony. He led me on a frantic chase through the rose garden while guests waited in the chapel. We finally cornered him under a hedge, muddy and triumphant, and arrived 2 minutes late. Max's show-stealing moment still gets a standing ovation every anniversary. On a solo road trip, my cockatoo Percy figured out the trunk latch and popped it open. My suitcase and camera bag tumbled into the gravel, halfway across the parking lot. I rescued my scratched gear and socks, glaring at Percy's innocent tilt. Now he rides in a locked cage with an audience of one. My rabbit Thumper chewed through the Ethernet cable seconds before I hit upload on a client proposal. My screen froze. I taped wires with duct tape and tethered my phone as a hotspot, but missed the deadline by 10 minutes, and plenty of billable hours. During a live-stream charity haul-athon, my ferret Bandit snuck into the breaker closet and yanked every fuse. The camera cut to black as donors panicked. I fumbled for flashlights, reset breakers, and got back online, minutes too late to hit our matching gift goal. My hamster Nibbles once launched off his wheel, somersaulted into my coffee mug, and sent a scalding wave across my keyboard just as I was finalizing a contest entry. I switched to voice dictation mid-scream and submitted with seconds to spare, complete with coffee-stained pages that made the judges chuckle. My parrot Kiwi learned how to mimic my door unlock tone, then free-roamed into my closet and scattered half my spring wardrobe across the floor. 10 minutes before I dashed to catch a flight, I arrived at the airport looking like an avant-garde stylist in mismatched socks. My iguana Spike figured out how to slide open the sliding glass pet door and waddled through my home office during a critical code review. He knocked over my monitor, tripped my power strip, and escaped under the couch. I spent the afternoon debugging both my code and my missing reptile. My pet goat Billy once chewed through the harness leash seconds before my daughter's dance recital. He sprinted around the auditorium, head-butting chairs and braying like a foghorn. I chased him down the aisle in heels, turning a graceful performance into a barnyard ballet. My guinea pig Peanut managed to burrow under the wall of his enclosure and gnaw through the cable powering my homebrew temperature controller right as I was pitching my startup seed round via webinar. The screen went dark. I ended up convincing investors via voice-only pitch, while Peanut lounged happily in the dark.